Good morning, YouTube, and today I'll be profiling my Ancient Gear deck profile. This is a deck I used to have, I got rid of it, and then I missed it, so I got it back. I feel like in the new limelight of releasing Obstruct decks, this one kind of took a backseat to the Dinosaur one, but this is one I love so much I decided to rebuild it. And you'll see a bunch of unconventional choices that I do in comparison to most people, but that's what I am, unconventional. So let's get right into it. Starting off, we have two in the Ancient Gear Reactor Dragons. This guy is the new big beat stick of the deck, has even more effects. So you can pop back row, gets additional effects if you tribute an Ancient Gear, but you won't be using that most of the time. You'll be using them as an Ancient Gear name, or using them for your rank 9s, or just as general beat stick, because this deck has beat sticks. I don't care what you say. If you ignore the fusion part of this deck, it's still a pretty awesome thing, and the fact that 3000 is nothing to argue with. I run one Ancient Gear Golem because he is the OG dude of the deck, and there's more additional reasons because he's a possibility for rank 9s, and I run the Ancient Gear Golem in here, Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. So that's why I decided, okay, well, I'm going to keep him in, and he's more achievable with Catapult nowadays because he has this cute little, oh, can't be special summoned by other means. I run two Ancient Gear Gadgeton Dragons. It's mostly for the rank 8 portion of the deck and for an additional Ancient Gear name and a 3000 beat stick. But he's still achievable even more with the new gadget, Ultimate, or with the new Ancient Gear gadget. You can get his little cute effects off, but that's not the main reason I run him. And he looks too cool, I decided to keep him in. I run Ancient Gear Engineer. There's 3 copies of him. Why? Because I play Infinity. He's an Ancient Gear name. In terms of all the single tributable Ancient Gear monsters they can bring out with Gear Town, this guy's my favorite in comparison to like Beast and Chimera because A, you can special summon him with Gear Town, B, he's an Infinity target, and C, he can pop back row if he does battle damage. Pretty darn cool. I run two Ancient Gear Knights. This guy is a bit slower for the deck, and well, he's just a beat stick mostly for my aspect, and another Ancient Gear name you can have in your hand. I run 3 of the Ancient Gear Wyverns. This guy's a new guy that they so much need to search as any Ancient Gear card in your deck, minus Gear Town, because that's not technically an Ancient Gear card. It's fantastic. You can't set back row the turn you play this, so I don't run any traps. But this guy is fantastic in general. It was something they definitely needed. He's a 4 possibility. He's a 17 beat stick on himself, which isn't that difficult or that hard to argue with. I only run 2 of the gadgets. This guy's new because you can protect, or good because you can protect all your monsters, your Ancient Gear monsters rather, from spells, traps, or monster effects, depending on which one you choose. He'll become any gadget name, which is pretty darn cool. And he's a 4, which is pretty darn cool as well. I choose not to run the Silver Gadget and Gold Gadget and the Ancient Gear box, which I know adds consistency, but for my purposes, I enjoy not necessarily consistency as I much enjoy being able to do cool things. So I run 2. He's still pretty darn cool and gives you 4 possibilities. One of the best additions to this deck is Ancient Gear Hunting Hound. He didn't come out in the structure deck. You have to buy him individually, but he's like 6 cents if you look online. It's awesome. He's an additional fusion in your 7 ways of fusing possibilities in this deck. He's normal summonable, burn 600. Okay, they gotta get rid of it at that point in time. Otherwise, you know, you're safe to fusion summon, which you can fusion summon with him and use your field or your hand. He's also one of the materials, which is pretty cool. That with polymerization and one of the materials all wrapped into one. Pretty darn cool. I run 1 Cyber Dragon because I do play Infinity. I also play Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, so like you're just a special summon, contact fuse to your opponent's stuff or your own stuff. Pretty darn cool in my opinion, and kind of a remnant from my old build, which I used the hodgepodge of machine stuff because I couldn't make it work the way I wanted to. And rounding out the monsters, I run a Max C because Max C is still pretty darn good. I run triple Gear Towns because Gear Town is one of the heart and souls of this deck. You use a special summon from your deck, an Ancient Gear monster, minus Golem in this instance. You can normal summon your Engineer. It's one of those field spells that it's not good to destroy it. If your opponent's looking like, oh man, the field spell, gotta get rid of it. If they don't know what's going on, then they're gonna miss some, or they're gonna run into a bunch of pain. interesting effect or thing about this is that if you chain like an MST, it's kind of like a Tenki effect. It does negate in this instance. If you let this resolve and actually activate on the field, you don't get your search off, which is pretty sad, but just a little fun fact that you should know. Another fantastic addition is Ancient Gear Catapult. This special summons this pops a face-up card on your side of the field if you don't have any monsters to special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring summon conditions. Well, this is a way to get an Ancient Gear Golem. That is fantastic. Plus, if you use this in conjunction with Gear Town, which is what you mostly want to do, you get 2 monsters, and it has additional graveyard effect where you pop something on the field, which Gear Town, hopefully, and special summon a token. So you can pop your Gear Town, get a Hound, boom, go into a Howitzer. It's pretty cool. And another fantastic addition is Ancient Gear Fortress. Most people only like to run 1 or 2 of this. I like a 3 because it's an answer to Zoo in this format. If you let this go off, then your opponent can't react to or target your Ancient Gear monsters the turn they're summoned for effects. So you do that, attack over your opponent's monsters. Oh man, I'm going to use my Drydens on you, use my Whiptail. No, this card says no. Plus it's an additional target for Catapult, which I like even more. And for this search, our Gear Towns run 3 Terraforming, pretty self-explanatory. I run 3 Power Bond. Wait, before you get on to me, before you say, but dude, the Ancient Gear Chaos Giant and Howitzer doesn't get its special ability of, doubling its attack points. I don't care, because I run Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, and I run another fun little tech, so I decided to use Power Bond over Polymerization. So yeah, before you criticize me, that's my personal opinion. Like it, take it, leave it, whatever you want. I run 1 Overload Fusion. This card is cool. It can be kind of cloggy because you don't want to see it turn 1. It's more of like a turn 2 thing, like if you want to see a late game. But it's too good not to run this deck because it's an Ancient Gear Giant, just by banishing stuff in your grave. Pretty darn cool. And since it's a machine deck, you do run limit removal. Most machine decks run limit removal. If you don't, well, you should probably test it out. It's pretty cool. Over Twin Twisters, I decided to run 3 Mystical Space Typhoon. Why? Because I don't like to discard from my hand as much. So you can use it on your Gear Town. You can use it to pop your opponent's stuff. Use it for most of your back row. It's pretty darn cool in my opinion. So I decided to run playset this over Twin Twister. And Double Dark Hole. Why Double Dark Hole and not Raigeki instead? Well, because you can use this on your Wyverns. Use your Wyvern, special summon your Catapult. Then use Dark Hole to clear your field and your opponent's field. So you can use your Catapult Freelance. Boom, you got 3,000 beaters going for 6,000. Boom, that hurts. Moving on to our extra deck. I run 2 of the Chaos Ancient Gear Chaos Giant because you never really need a 3rd one. And if you need a 3rd one, you're probably in a hurtful position and you probably should be trying something else other than going for this guy. He's unaffected by spells and traps, which is fantastic, and your opponents can't activate their monster effects during the battle phase. So, like, let's say you're going against Yang Zings, they don't get their search. Pretty darn cool. And it doesn't just affect him, too. So, like, let's say you have one of your, well, let's go for a random one. Engineer. They can't react to that with their monster effects. Pretty darn cool. And you can attack all your opponent's monsters once. Flicks Piercing. Good gosh, this card is amazing. 4,500. And I run an Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. Why? Because you can actually use Power Bond to get this guy out. He's a reason to run Ancient Gear Golem. Is probably the main reason I still run this guy. And, man, 8,800 is just pretty darn cool. And he can special summon from grave if he is destroyed. Most people forget about that fact. So, like, oh man, let's get rid of it. Blah, blah, blah. Oh no, I'm running into a bigger dude. It sucks. Run 2 Ancient Gear Howitzers. This card is unaffected by other card effects. That in itself is pretty darn cool. During your main phase, you can also do a free floating 1,000 points of damage. There's been a time where I did a 3,000 damage one turn. My opponent soul charged for the most broken field I've seen in a long time. Next turn, I contacted for Howitzer and won. Just because. That's pretty cool. Also, he has an additional Gear Town effect where you can special summon from your deck, ignoring summon conditions. Pretty darn cool. And he's a level 8, so that gives you more rank 8 possibilities. Potentially, if I didn't run some of the other stuff in here, I'd probably contemplate running 3. I run a Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon because I love this card to pieces. A little too much, probably. And since I'm running Cyber Dragon and Machine deck, I like this guy. And if I were to create a side deck for this deck, I'd probably run the Machine Kaijus to, like, tribute your opponent's monster, special summon the Cyber Dragon, contact fuse, boom, you got damage. I run a Parasacroid, another power bond target, and with that, he becomes a 32 beat stick that can attack your opponent directly. That in itself was more than enough reason for me personally to run this in here. I run a very small rank 4 possibility, or extra deck in here. It's only heavy armor trained Iron Wolf because he can attack your opponent directly and can search for level 4 machine monsters if he's destroyed. And a 15 on Crooked Cook because he lets you activate all your spells and traps if they're destroyed. And if you don't have them, well, gosh dang, he's unaffected by spells and traps. That is pretty darn cool. I know there's many other possibilities that might be a little bit better in here, but for what I'm trying to accomplish, I think these guys synergize a little bit better. So that's the only reason why I run those two instead of others. I run Cyber Dragon, Nova, and Infinity because... say what you want to, Infinity is still good. It's not as good as it once was, but it's too good in my play style to not run. And we do run, I was talking about the rank 8s earlier. I run a Hope Harbinger and Galaxy Cypher Dragon. So you can steal your opponent's monster and make a full armored Photon Dragon because he's pretty darn cool. So yeah. In terms of rank 8s, you could probably exchange any one of these for... any other rank 8 you want to, but these are just the ones I prefer, in my opinion. And since the new dude is a 9-star monster, we run Phantom Fortress Enterblanther, who is, you won't get to make him in most decks, except for, I guess, well, now the new Trukians can kind of make him. Anyway, he get banish a card in your opponent's hand, banish one from the field, banish one from the top of your opponent's deck, banish one from the graveyard, once per turn. So you do that, banish your opponent's monster, boom, you go for damage. So he's too good not to run. That's going to wrap up my Ancient Gear deck profile. I had a few people request I make an updated one, so I decided to do it. Yeah, cool. It's a little bit different than the one I used to have, and it's also different than the one most people are running. But I enjoy it, and you take whatever I say with a grain of salt because it's just my personal opinion. But hopefully you can find something that you can use out of this. If not, well, then just have a great day otherwise. Thanks.